It has been a week of horrendous noise and thunderous aftershocks racking the ground. The earth hasn't stopped shivering beneath the outbreak of man's power since the guns had begun their assault to destroy the German front line. Honestly, by the time the cannons have stopped firing and the shells ceased to explode, the way one's body feels is comparable to having gotten off a small boat after months in rough seas. The smell of gunpowder is only overpowered by the smell of machine oil, and the heat from wandering among the armaments makes the unbearable July sauna even worse. There is a buzz of excitement in the newfound silence, something I personally do not share, and that my men hold anticipation in spades. Their guts twist with nervous thrill. Mine is twisting for an entirely different reason. I'm not sure if it is foreboding or indigestion yet. My headache seems ever-present, just ebbing and flowing as the frustration of my people rises and falls with the war's lack of progress. Communication between British and French forces is terse at best, and even worse are the communications with our other powerful ally, Russia. From what can be gathered by way of radio, mouth, and the occasional telegram that made it through, things are not going well. Germany, Austria-Hungary, the Ottoman Empire, Bulgaria. How can the greatest nations in Europe be in such a state against countries like these? The Battle of the Marne had been one of the first to open the theatre. Battles in Africa had looked like skirmishes compared to that brutal episode. The Germans had converged like a great storm, sweeping in from the east like an unleashed stampede of hellhounds, armed with inhuman militaristic intelligence intent only upon conquest. They had beaten the French troops back at every turn, outflanking them, setting them running as mortar after mortar fell from the sky like metallic rain. The Germans were making the march for the Atlantic, their sights set on Paris in the process. The French were desperate to hold what ground they could rather than recover what they had lost. It came down to a joint French and British effort. The forces outnumbered by Germans more than 7-1. After 18 days of hard fighting, we managed to pull off a miracle. If one could really proclaim a miracle over the wounded and dead bodies of over 250,000 men. The trenches to the north hold. The German offensive there is essentially halted from further penetration into France from the northeast. Celebration, however, isn't something to be found on the Allied side. The ever-tenacious Germans are far from deterred from their quest to take France. Eventually, it will come down to Verdun.
They cannot take Verdun, Angleterre. We must stop them before they reach Verdun or all is lost.
I fail to see what you expect me to do about it. It's not like I can spare anyone to go rushing down there where I'm having a hard enough time keeping ground from being lost here.
Oh, mon Dieu, Angleterre. Fort Douaumont has fallen. I am sorry, Angleterre. The decision is out of my hands. We must protect Verdun. You will have to take some alone.
What?
For Trumont. It was the last stronghold between the Germans and Verdun. Just lead us away, mon ami. I cannot give you full support at some, when Verdun is still so vulnerable.
You bloody frog, you inconceivable bastard! This offensive has been planned for months! You can't just back out! Coward!
Forgive me, Angleterre. I will leave what forces I can to aid you, but I must protect Verdun.
My people. My whole country has been in this war for 2 years now, fighting to save your bloody ass. My people are dying. Nearly my entire army has been wiped out, and what I've got left are volunteers who, as brave as they are, aren't nearly as well trained and equipped as their enemies. Now we're on the verge of one of the greatest offensives of this war, the first real offensive we've managed to pull off, and you're backing out and leaving me and my men to hang. If there's a reason I shouldn't pull this trigger, now is the time.
Angleterre.
I hadn't killed Francis that night, but God, I wanted to. The French High Command could not be deterred from protecting Verdun, even at the cost of leaving the British virtually alone in the beginning offensive in the northern and eastern parts of Somme. Promises have been made for reinforcements once Verdun is secure, but I'm not counting on it. The British Empire is going to be taking the bulk of the soldiers into this fight. British, Canadian, Australian, and several other Dominion groups. It makes me feel better that Canada has pledged the most support for my current and former colonies, unlike its southern neighbour who still refuses to even... No, I'm not going to think about that right now. I need to focus. God. What have I done? Fall back! That was a foolish thing to do, Britain. Your men have paid dearly for your mistake. You know, Krat, you're starting to sound a lot like a frog. You should have never come here, Empire. You should never have tried to be a hero.